My sister walked into the inheritance meeting, head held high, armed with one of the best lawyers in NYC, declaring, "The $9 million house is mine." It's obvious. I just sat there, silent, letting her arrogance fill the room, until her lawyer turned to the last page of the will. He paused, his hands trembled, and then he looked at me, not at her, at me. "What's wrong? Read it," she screamed, but he couldn't. Not yet. And that's when I realized this wasn't going to be her victory. It was going to be mine. If you've ever been underestimated, betrayed, or told you're less than by someone who thinks they're smarter than you, hit that subscribe button right now. Like this video, and comment if you've ever had a moment where karma finally caught up. Trust me, this story is a masterclass in patience, strategy, and poetic justice. Let's dive in. I never thought I'd see the day when my sister would try to take everything from me. Growing up, we had our moments. Normal sibling stuff, but it was always clear who the responsible child was. She was loud, demanding, the kind of person who believed the world owed her everything. And I stayed quiet. Tried to stay out of trouble. Focused on building my life quietly, step by step. When our parents passed, it wasn't just grief that hit me, it was the sudden, raw exposure of how different our worlds were. My sister immediately started acting as if she had already inherited everything. She called family friends, whispered in the ears of distant relatives, and most importantly, she started plotting to take the house. Now, this wasn't just any house. $9 million, full of memories, full of things we grew up with. And suddenly, she acted as if it belonged to her by default. She didn't even hide it. The first time she mentioned her claim, I felt a knot tighten in my chest, a mix of anger, disbelief, and a quiet, simmering determination. I realized I had two options: either let her walk all over me, or plan carefully to make sure justice was served. I chose the latter. The day of the inheritance meeting arrived. I walked in early, a little nervous, but I had spent weeks preparing. The lawyer she had hired was one of the best in New York City, a shark who had probably won thousands of inheritance cases. My sister, she was all confidence, striding into the room as if she already owned the house. She smiled at me, this self-satisfied, smug smile that said, "You're about to lose everything." I didn't respond. I let her arrogance hang in the air, thick and suffocating. The meeting began. The lawyer started reciting clauses, legalese flying over my head. My sister nodding along, visibly delighted. But I wasn't just listening, I was studying. Every hesitation, every pause, every word they used. I had the advantage of knowing what our parents had really intended. And more importantly, I had prepared for this exact scenario. About halfway through, she turned to me, voice dripping with certainty. "Honestly, it's obvious. The house is mine. Everyone knows it." I felt a rush of something familiar, anger, but I didn't let it show. Instead, I kept my hands folded on the table, letting the silence press down on her. There's a strange power in silence. It forces the arrogant to feel uncomfortable, makes them question themselves even when they shouldn't. Her lawyer, sensing my quiet defiance, gave a polite but sharp look. He was the professional, the one she trusted to bulldoze me into submission. But I could see the tiny flicker of doubt in his eyes. He knew something she didn't. And then, he reached the last page of the will. The room seemed to hold its breath. He paused. Just a few seconds, but it felt like an eternity. And then he looked straight at me. Not her. Not the smug, self-assured sister. At me. In that moment, my sister lost a little of her composure. Her face hardened. Her voice rose. "What's wrong? Read it." But he didn't move. He just shook his head slightly, almost imperceptibly. My sister's hands gripped the armrests of her chair, nails digging in. Her confidence, the confidence she had carried into the room like a shield, was beginning to crack. I had waited for this, the moment when her arrogance would make her overplay her hand. And now, she was biting at the line, desperate to force the outcome. The tension was exquisite. I could feel my heart pounding, not from fear, but from the thrill of knowing that every second of this was exactly as it should be. The revelation, execution of revenge. Finally, the lawyer cleared his throat. His voice shook, but it was controlled, deliberate. "According to the last page, the house is not solely for your sister. It is to be sold, and the proceeds split equally, but with one condition. The sibling who maintained the property and preserved its value gets the right of first purchase at market value. The room went still. My sister's mouth opened, but no sound came out. She looked at me, a flicker of panic replacing her earlier confidence. I leaned back slightly, letting the silence stretch. Memories of her dismissive remarks, her constant belittling, the way she thought she could rewrite reality, all of it swirled in my mind. And then, with quiet satisfaction, I spoke. Well, I guess I get first choice. Her face went pale. The lawyer tried to intervene, but it was too late. She had underestimated me completely. At that moment, I realized something profound. Revenge isn't about anger, it's about strategy. It's about patience, preparation, and letting the arrogance of others lead them into their own trap. The satisfaction wasn't in humiliating her. It was in seeing justice executed with precision. I could almost feel her frustration radiating across the table. Every confident smirk she had worn over the years was gone, replaced by disbelief and panic. Meanwhile, I felt a calm that was almost euphoric. For once, the scales had been balanced, not by force, not by confrontation, but by knowledge and foresight. Her lawyer, the shark she had trusted implicitly, now looked uneasy. I could see him calculating, trying to salvage the situation for his client. But there was nothing he could do. I had won without saying much, without shouting, without raising my voice. She finally stammered, her voice breaking. That's impossible. How did you? I cut her off gently, almost politely. Your confidence got ahead of you. The will didn't leave the house to anyone outright, but I worked hard to maintain it, preserve its value. So yes, I have the right to buy it first. The silence that followed was deafening. You could feel the shift in the room. My sister, the confident, self-assured woman who walked in thinking she had the world, was now reduced to scrambling to comprehend her own failure. And me? I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. It wasn't just about the house. It was about reclaiming dignity, showing that cunning and patience often outmatch arrogance and entitlement. The sale was finalized, the house legally mine to purchase. My sister never spoke to me the same way again. She had learned, the hard way, that assumptions can be dangerous. And I walked away with more than a house. I walked away with peace, vindication, and the satisfaction of knowing that I had not only preserved what was mine, but had done it in a way that no one could argue with. Life has a strange way of balancing itself out. Sometimes it takes time. Sometimes you have to wait, observe, and let the arrogance of others guide them to their own undoing. And when it works, it's more satisfying than you can imagine. The lesson? Justice isn't always immediate, and revenge isn't always loud. Sometimes the quietest actions, the ones executed with patience and precision, are the most powerful. Never underestimate someone who knows the rules and knows how to play them. If you loved this story of patience, strategy, and sweet vindication, make sure to like this video, hit subscribe, and share it with someone who enjoys seeing justice served. And tell me in the comments, what's the most satisfying revenge you've ever witnessed? I want to hear your stories.